Welcome back, everybody, to the RacePlazaMedia podcast, episode 26. My name is Milan.
My name is Pia.
And this week, we are going to talk about MotoGP
Yes.
in Japan, as well as the World Endurance Championship in
Japan.
Exactly. And then we have a few news things. I think nothing too crazy. We're going to talk about the very end.
Yes.
However, this weekend, unlike any other MotoGP weekend, I have actually watched a sprint race.
Yes.
Because I was under the impression that Marc might be able to clinch the championship during the sprint race, and I didn't want to miss out on that.
Yes.
However,
correct.
little spoiler, of course, he was not able to do that because due to math. Technically, if then in the main race, I think Alex would have finished ahead of him with like 6 or 7 points. He could have declined it. But I'm also glad it didn't happen during a sprint race.
Yeah. No. And I don't know if there's any other like measurements or rules or something that you cannot maybe clinch it during a sprint race.
I don't think so.
I don't know. But it wouldn't have the same effect.
Exactly.
If you have it. And also I wonder if, sprint race, of course, people attend it, but I'm sure the main race more people will attend. So you don't want the championship not to be taken on not main race day.
Yes, but on the other hand then that's on you for not.
Of course.
You know, given if you have a weekend pass, obviously if you only have a pass for Sunday. However, there's plenty of other things that happen during the sprint race because we obviously hinted at something that happens later on during the main race. But we're first going to talk about the sprint race. And the first thing I actually want to talk about was, I think, this was turn 1.
Yeah, it was the main thing that happened during the sprint race, would I say?
It looked really, really bad.
Yeah.
And it also, so essentially we had Jorge Martin starting from 18th place or something like that.
Yeah, he was pretty far back. I'm opening up the grid right now.
And then I think it was, I don't know if it was a turn 1.
So Jorge Martin started in 17th, and the other person who was involved in it started in 9th place.
9th place. Okay.
So it happened right in lap 1. I don't remember if it was the first turn, but it was pretty early into the race. Jorge Martin went into the corner. It was a right-hand turn, quite hot, and then his bike started wiggling underneath him and just went like...
And he was thrown topside.
Yeah, exactly. He was thrown over. The bike went away. The bike went into Bez's bike too, right?
Into the rear tire, and it chucked Bez off in a way that I thought looked really, really bad. And he also looked hurt.
Yeah.
And Jorge Martin as well. And Jorge actually ended up not competing in the main race, whereas Bez was able to come back.
Yeah.
I think they were saying that Jorge had... his shoulder was hurting, and he already had shoulder injury, obviously, this year. So maybe they were like, there's nothing on the line for you, just rest. It's better for you than instead of getting injured like for a 3rd or 4th time this year, right?
Well, yeah, but it's better to now recover, and then you're fully to yourself for the next season, because now you don't have anything
this
to
is
win
just
anymore.
For you to get to know the bike,
exactly,
and quote unquote practice, and
then I even had read, which is such a bummer, that he felt like now starting this Asia stint of the season, especially the coming up race in Thailand, he was like, oh, this feels like my preseason is over and I'm really getting into it, because he felt like connected to the bike more and stuff like that. So it's a bummer that this happened yet again.
Yeah.
But he seemed good-natured. He was like, I'm going to come back. I'm not going to let this take me down.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good.
He posted something on social media.
Very good.
And so he was like adamant, this is not going to stop him, which I wouldn't have thought so, but it's just another thing that happened to him this season. But I think maybe it's just like, it's easier now that it happens now.
Yeah.
So that next season, there's all this bullshit is out of the universe. Yeah. He can just race.
And I don't want to say it's not bad that he crashed. It's the way he crashed.
Yes.
Really?
Because it looked painful and brutal, and it was
violent.
So much force. Exactly.
Yeah. The way he was like thrown off, and it was not something that he could recover from. And I know, of course, this is super unfortunate that out of all the people that you take out is also your own teammate.
Yes.
Whereas I think Bez has been a few times now on the receiving end of someone collecting him and him getting hurt from that.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly lucky that he didn't hit anyone else.
Yes.
Because it was very busy, and he essentially was in the midst of it, and he was like, essentially his bike bowled through a row of people, and is very lucky that he only hit Bez.
Yes, 100%. Speaking of the person who's been getting collected a lot this season, Joan Mir on the Honda. He had an excellent weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, just in the sprint race alone, he started quite in the front of the grid. He started in second place. So he started on the front row, which is already excellent. Then he had a really great start. He ended up losing positions, and he ended up fourth in the sprint race, which is his best sprint race result.
And also to point out, he's racing for Honda, so it's a home race for Honda.
Yes, very
which
true.
Is really exciting.
So that was already really, really nice, and very happy to see that, especially because last season I feel like we made maybe sometimes a little bit fun of him just because he had
Not fun of him, but we definitely pointed out that he had a lot of crashes.
Yes, that is a better way to say that. He did have a lot of crashes. Then this season, it looked like things have turned, and then he started getting taken out by others often.
Yeah.
I mean, not that saying that he didn't have any fault in some of the incidences, but I think in the majority of the incidents that he was a part of,
he was just like
he was a casualty.
Yeah.
It was just wrong place, wrong time kind of situation.
And also not in a way where like he could have avoided this.
Yes.
This is someone crashing at the entrance of a corner, and then their bike slides across it, and you're already on the exit and you get collected.
Yes.
So like you cannot avoid this.
No. And then it's also exciting that Honda has been having a couple really decent races, not just him, but also his teammate Luca Marini has been having really great results.
Luca also started pretty far in the front, but he ended up dropping back.
Yeah, exactly. Luca had started. Well, no, he started in 7th and he ended in 7th for the sprint race.
Then it was in a main race.
Yes, exactly. Okay. But it's just nice to see them now in the mix too a little bit more. We've been seeing them closer to the podium. And then one of the commentators was saying like, oh, maybe this year we will, or he believes that this year we will see a Honda on the podium. I was like, oh, this would be really cool.
And it would be like, especially cool also if it would be Joan, because I feel like he's been through like a lot of ups and downs.
No, of course. I mean, I don't know as much about Luca Marini.
Well, the only thing I know is he was a champion in 2020.
Joan Mir.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was a champion in
exactly. That's what I know about Joan Mir, that he was a champion. And then what are you counting?
I'm trying to see. We're missing one part. I don't know. So, and then there was Pecco, Jorge.
Was there Quartararo in there before that?
Was he a champion? Is he 2021? And then it was 2022, 2023, Pecco.
GP champion. Let's see.
Tell me the 2021 champion.
Fabio Quartararo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
very
so
good.
it is.
Awesome.
That's what I thought.
Good brain. Nice.
I'm learning, you know.
Very good.
So it's really nice to see that he was having a great sprint race. I think overall, besides that first lap incident, the sprint race was not quite.
What about the big drama that happened during the race, when it was unbelievable that Marc Marquez was in 4th? Like they were talking about like Marc Marquez 4th. He hasn't finished below 2nd place in a sprint race this whole season, and he's 4th. Oh my God! It's like the way they were saying it, and I was like, okay, guys, relax.
No,
we're 2 or 3 laps into the race, and we all know that Marc likes to, like, not that he likes to take his time, but he definitely he doesn't mind making an attack on the last third.
Yes. Which he ended up doing, and he ended up finishing in 2nd.
He ended up passing Joan Mir, and then he ended up passing Pedro Acosta. But I think the standout performance this whole weekend.
Yes.
And with a full heart, I'm so happy to say this.
So happy.
We had the sprint winner, Pecco Bagnaia.
Yes.
Finally back on the top step. He had fantastic qualifying. He started P1, finished in P1. Not at any point was he really threatened.
Exactly.
He was speeding away, and he won by 1.8 seconds.
Yeah.
And just overall really, really strong and solid performance by Pecco, and everyone was just happy.
Yes.
At least in the Ducati family.
Yes. I know. I mean, I feel like you can tell even the commentators were just so relieved because everybody is just so in awe and confused about Pecco's performance this season.
Or his drop-off.
Yeah, his drop-off this season. And then now that he, all of a sudden, he's leading. He starts in pole and he's leading the race and he's winning the race. sprint race, but it was just like so happy. And then you see him in his post-race interview just smiling, and there seemed to be such also like a peace.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I can do this still in a way, you know?
Yes.
I mean, he knows, but it's just, it clicked again.
Of course. And it's a little bit unfortunate that he wasn't able to get it together for the Italy Grand Prix.
Yeah, in Misano.
Because also, I had forgotten that, of course, all of Ducati was there.
Yes.
Like the ownerships and the blah, blah, blahs, you know? And that you had such bad performance. And I was also a little bit tired of seeing him just in his pit box and just doing this, you know, like shrugging his shoulders and being like, I don't know, you know, because obviously if he knew, he would fix it.
Yeah. No, of course. But then I also, it's like, think about, we have so many other world champions on the grid that I didn't know about when I first got into, like Joan Mir, like last season. I would have never thought until I found out about it, of course, that he was a previous world champion.
Yeah, absolutely.
The same with Fabio Quartararo. I was like, what? This is like, and I mean, it just shows, like, it depends on the bike, it depends on the click, it depends on the right time, the right bike. Everything has to fit. You have to be in your fitness or in your peak, in your prime. And it's like there's so many elements that point into it, and none of these are bad racers. It's just sometimes things don't align for you. And it's so happy that things aligned for Pecco this weekend. It was just such a relief.
It truly was.
Yeah.
And I guess we can just now move on to the main race.
Yes.
I will say then, going into the main race, I think we're hoping that Pecco was going to be able to, you know, defend it. And I think only his teammate was able to outshine him due to what he did.
Yeah.
But other than that, fantastic performance by Bagnaia. He, at some point during the race, was actually 4 seconds up to Marc Marquez. Okay, he did actually finish up ending the race 4.1 seconds up on Marc. And just overall fantastic performance by Bagnaia, even though there was some scariness that was happening.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden there was white smoke, potential steam, coming off of his bike. I would say it started around halfway through. Yeah,
I think it started around lap 15, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
It's when we saw the first kind of things of smoke. And then first there was speculation, like, is it coming from the back of the bike? Is it coming from the tire? Where is it coming from? But his times were still so excellent. He wasn't really losing time at the beginning.
No, not at all.
So it was like, oh, what is it? And then it stopped for a moment, and then it came back again.
And then it was worse.
And then it was a lot more consistent.
Yeah.
And we figured out eventually that it came through the exhaust. It was kind of expelled
that's what they
through
commented,
there.
and it's like you could see when they were zooming in, it was like puffing.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Puff.
Which was so interesting. But then, of course, we were like, oh my gosh, he's leading by 4 seconds.
Yeah, dude.
This race cannot end because of a technical issue. He's been in such great shape this weekend. It would be so good for his confidence also. You could see the Ducati pit wall just like praying, like, oh my gosh, what is, like, it should be fine. Let's finish the race.
And I will also say my big concern was also I had like almost like Kenny PTSD.
Ken Roxon.
I was afraid that the bike would throw him off.
Oh,
That's what I was afraid of, because we don't know what it was. Is this the engine? But what if the engine just shuts down you going 300 kilometers an hour, right? That's like, I don't want to know what happens then, right? And so it was very scary. At some point, Marc was able to cut down I think the gap to like 1.8. But I think at the end, I think Marc was probably also then like kind of trailing off when he realized, you know, he just has to bring it across the finish line.
Yeah.
However, there's a few other people I wanted to bring up before we talk about Marc.
Yeah.
The first person I wanted to say is who had a strong performance in the sprint race and also finished third was Pedro Acosta. He started out good. However, I don't know if there was something going on with his bike, but he ended up dropping back a lot.
Yeah, he first started dropping back. He got passed by Marc Marquez. Then he got passed by Joan Mir. And then suddenly he kept falling and falling back. Then he was battling Alex Marquez. And then he went too hot into the corner or turn. And then he went into the gravel. He went excellently through the gravel.
He saved that really well.
Yeah, he was able to stay on the bike. But then he came out 19th again. So at the end, he was able to make up a couple spots. Well,
but
really,
he honestly joined the back marker of all, I think, everyone else in his team.
Yeah, but I mean, it was even like just before that you had mentioned, wow, only Pedro is in the top 10 of the KTMs. Like everybody else is much further behind. So yeah, it was just such a bummer that happened to him. I think the other big winner that we have to shout out, of course, Pedro Acosta winning the race, Marc Marquez coming in second, and we'll talk more about him in a second. But then in third, Joan Mir with Honda ended up third place on the podium. Honda, a home win, of course.
The commentator spoke it into existence.
Yes, 100%. And
there must also be some validation. It's like, I fucking called that, right?
And I was hoping for it too. I mean,
absolutely.
Throughout the race, I was like, come on, you can make it onto the podium. But then he had, of course, battling with Marc, and then he was battling with Pedro Acosta a little bit, but he ended up passing Pedro quite quickly, but then there was Bez right behind. So I was like, oh my gosh, as much as I love Bez and I want him to do well, I would love it for Joan to end up on the podium. But then suddenly Joan was riding away.
Yeah.
And I was like,
really great pace.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And he had
at some point he was actually the fastest rider on the track.
Exactly. And I was but I was so nervous for him because there were moments earlier in the race where his bike was like shaking like crazy.
Yeah. That also scared me with Pecco when the smoke was coming out. It seemed like the bike was shaking a lot.
And it's just, I mean, they're so on the edge, you know, and crashing is not an uncommon thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's so exciting to see him back on the podium. It's the first time in a long time for him to be on a podium. I forgot what year it was when
Did they say 2019?
No, because I mean he won 2020.
Yeah, that doesn't.
So that doesn't make sense.
Was it 5 years though? I think it 5 years. Is
so maybe it was 2021 or 20. I mean, somewhere there. I forgot. I apologize. I don't remember when, but it's been a long time for him to be back on the podium.
Many years.
So it's so exciting. I mean, he's been. The whole Honda team has been working toward it, so it's really exciting to see that he did so well. On the other hand, unfortunately, Luca Marini didn't have as well of a race.
Lap 2.
Oh, yeah, so that's true.
Crash lap 2. Then also really unfortunate, hometown hero Nakagami essentially did the same thing that Pedro did, but he ended up falling over in the gravel trap, and he was not able to get back out there.
And it's such a bummer because he's not on the bike full season. He was just there as a wild card because it's his home race. Of course, he retired end of last season. So it was nice to see him back, but just such a bummer that it didn't end quite as well. And then Ayogura couldn't even compete.
Yeah, God.
He competed in a sprint race. He ended up making a point or two at 1 point for him. But
and then who got also a point? Chandra.
Oh yes,
that's
so
super exciting, dude.
Also another Honda, of course, but yeah, so exciting that he also ended up getting a point.
Great performance. Also, the one person also super unlucky, Jack Miller. His chain broke, and it was literally just hanging off of the bike.
Yeah, just a poor weekend for him overall because he didn't finish the sprint race. His chain came off in the main race, so just not a great weekend. But I think now we can head into the main event of the weekend, I would say.
Yeah, I think that is fair to say. The main event being, of course, Marc Marquez. We said that in order for him to not clinch the championship this weekend, Alex would have to finish, I think, 6 or 7 points ahead of him. Alex has been having actually a not so good second half of the season, I would say, compared to his really, really strong performance at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, the last couple of races have not been quite as good. He started in 8th place.
I don't know if he's still struggling with the injury. Didn't he break his fingy and he had a surgery? I don't know if there's still something. He did have.
I don't know if there's.
But I don't know if there's still that. But his second half of the season is not nearly as strong or distant currently. That meant that Marc Marquez essentially finishing anywhere ahead of his brother meant that he would clinch the championship. Him also starting ahead of his brother helped tremendously. And then Marc coming second meant that Marc, for the 7th time and nine times overall, is now a MotoGP world champion.
Yes.
Goosebumps just saying it.
Yeah. It's been 5 years since his last world championship title.
So 2019.
2019, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, 5-6 years, whatever. Or it's been 6 years since his world
5 years
championship
since
title. 5 since the really bad accident.
Yeah.
Or since the beginning of some not so great moments in his career.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, was it emotional.
It was very emotional. I think it was emotional for the commentators. I mean, if
Yes.
you're not a Marquez fan, then you probably don't care. But I think, genuinely speaking, if you are someone who loves sports and who not only loves a good comeback story, but also like who can appreciate and really respect someone who overcame something so difficult.
Yes.
Someone who was told, hey, listen, your career's over. You should probably pack up your bags.
Yeah.
Who fought like nail and tooth.
Yeah.
Tooth and nail.
Tooth and nail.
Tooth and nail. To come back and then is having the season of his life.
Bro.
I have goosebumps
I
right
have
now.
goosebumps now again
Just
too.
thinking about it. And
it's-
also everyone's reaction to it. Him,
Yes.
his reaction, you know.
I mean, he was screaming while he was on his like victory lap, just like it was just so guttural, such a release.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can only begin to imagine the tension, the pressure, the expectations he had also for himself. Even in one of the post-race interviews, he said again, like the enemy was myself. Essentially, I was battling myself.
Yeah.
And it was never for him. It was not the championship that was his main goal. It was his finding the love for racing and being on the bike again after everything that happened. And then his brother was also saying like, you know, I always knew he would come back. He would make it back. And just hearing that. And then the post-race interviews for a lot of the other racers was like, he's a legend.
Yeah,
and it's
he
like,
is definitely a legend now.
Yeah.
Coming back from this, yeah,
of course.
absolutely.
And then also like Quartararo was joking like, yeah, maybe now he can slow down a bit and let us have some wins.
He was like, no. It's like, no, I have.
But I mean, yeah, what a legend.
Yeah.
Super emotional. I mean, like we said, he was crying and screaming and
he started crying many times, and I get it because, I mean, I don't relate, but I understand.
Yes.
Like I have
a
empathy
big-
for this.
Yes, exactly.
You know, because this is, it's like seeing someone, and you can see that this is something that has really like scarred him in a way,
I
right?
mean,
literally, physically, but also like emotionally.
Yeah.
And also in his post-race interview, the commentator was also almost, or the interviewer was
Jack at Park Ferme.
Exactly. He was also like kind of choking up.
Yeah.
And then Marc also said that he doesn't want to think about what happened. Like he's just glad that he's through this.
Yeah, and he also said he's at peace.
Yeah.
You know, I had a hard time understanding what he was saying when he kept saying it. But like he's just at peace now.
Yeah.
You know, he did it. I'm sure he wants to still achieve more.
Yeah.
And there's still room for him to achieve more.
And he has now pulled like up to his quote unquote main rival.
Yeah,
right?
Valentino Rossi, they're equal now in Rider World Championships. But like, yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're going racing again this upcoming weekend. You're going to Thailand. So the season is not over yet.
In a way, it's also better that he won Sunday, so at least he can party today.
Yes.
You know? And
you know they'll party. They'll be dancing.
Dancing Marc is back at it. We already saw videos.
Love it.
And yeah, this is so good. I think the only quote unquote little critique that we had was, and this has nothing to do with Marc, right?
No.
But this is just the way it was set up, where he would park the bike, and then there was just two other people, then he was kind of by himself, and it felt a little lonely because I think he just wanted to hug his people.
Yeah.
The good thing is like he hugged his brother, and the riders congratulated him while he was riding on the bike.
Yeah.
But then when he got to essentially where they had the setup
Yeah.
for the ceremony and stuff like that.
Well, it wasn't a ceremony. It was just like this big screen, a red carpet. He walked down the red carpet, and then there was this film that played.
But there was no one else.
But it was there was just two other people there. And like, yes, it was an emotional video. It showed where he came from and where he is now. And
more than just a number.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There was like this whole thing. And he said he didn't even know about that, I guess.
Yeah.
But then he got back on the bike to then ride to Park Ferme to then celebrate officially with his girlfriend, his dad, and family, friends, colleagues, and whatnot.
And he went to the Grassini team. He went to his former Honda team, right? I think a lot of people are happy for him that he was able to overcome what he did, you know?
No, of course. And I mean, it is, I'm sure, in a way, a small world, you know? I mean, he's been with different teams and he knows the people. And like, yes, not everybody is a fan of his, but people in that circle know or have more of an understanding what he went through.
Yes.
His comeback, what it is. And so I think there is still even if you don't like him, there's a big level of respect
Yes.
for what he has done, what he has
have
achieved.
to. I think,
you know,
I think you, like, even if you're not a fan and if you don't like him, whatever, but you have to respect what he has done. You know?
yeah. I mean, because it's just unbelievable. I haven't looked it up yet, but I'm sure there is like a Marc Marquez documentary or something already out there.
There is, but I think they should do it with an updated version where they change the ending.
Very, very true.
Because the ending right now would have been open. Who knows what will happen,
yes,
right?
very, very true. But I would be interested in watching it because I know some of what happened, but I don't know as much as maybe I would want to.
Yeah, I mean, they showed clips of the crash, which I also kind of didn't like.
Yeah.
That they showed the crash also multiple times, and it's like, I don't think he really needs to see that because he lived through this.
Yes.
And it also sounded like you saw like the struggles that he went through and
with like rehab
and
then crashing again and hurting and like,
and him also saying that the mistake that he made with coming back too soon, which is almost mirrored in a way by Jorge Martin this year, right? Coming back too soon, where it's like, at that point, it doesn't matter. Come back when you're healthy. But I get it. Like, you want to come back as soon as possible, right? And with Jorge, it's like I guess with Mark, it was also, you were the reigning champion, right? So you want to come back and fight for it, right? Very, very difficult. But
yeah, congratulations to Marc.
Yeah.
So happy. I mean, it's not a surprise now, especially after the season we've witnessed. And I am so grateful to have witnessed this, even if we just witnessed like the end, not the end of it, but the end of his comeback at least, you know?
We saw the beginning of it, actually, if you think about it. Because, yes, he came back, but like it didn't really start rolling until he got that win last year, right?
With Grassini, yes. No, I agree with that.
And we watched that.
We did watch it, and I was crying then too.
Yeah, it was super emotional.
It was. But we didn't experience
the hardship.
Exactly.
We only experienced the dancing Marc.
The rise.
The rise of the Phoenix, right?
Exactly. Which is I'm super incredibly grateful for.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm happy to see it live as it's happening. And I'm now that we're watching more different types of motorsport series and also more in it, I'm excited to witness more greatness, you know? I mean, we watch great racing all the time. We see great moments in all different types of motorsports that we see. But because we're actually following it now more
closely than ever,
but also more long term, you know, instead of popping in and out, it's exciting to watch the rise of greatness or the peaks of greatness and also the lows of it, and just being on the ride with them, you know?
Yeah, and if you think about it, right? So I don't know how much like overlay there is between like F1 and like MotoGP and being able to ride at your like prime or like the best as you can. But for example, Hamilton didn't really hit his prime until he was 30. Right, he started winning like his 6 world championships in his 30s, right? And Marc is 32, so everyone else is probably like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, because now he's equaled second place overall rider championships with his big rival Valentino Rossi. Next up in 8th is the top with Giacomo Agostini. So we'll see if he will join him or maybe even exceed him, because Giacomo Agostini's
a legend.
He's been standing for a very long time.
He's that guy, right?
Yes.
But also, who knows? Because like from one season to another, so much can change.
No, exactly, which is exciting.
Very exciting.
And because we've been having so many great competitors this season also, I mean, there's still a chance next season that we have Pecco really joining the championship fight
if
again.
He can,
and Jorge Martin, Bez.
Bez is the one I'm really excited for, because I think Bez is really finding his own.
Yeah, but then also there's also, I'm sure maybe we have a surprise, you know?
Yeah,
or maybe one of the rookies. I mean, Furman Aldeguer has been so great. Pedro Acosta has been ups and downs. I mean, there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because, I mean, a new season is a new season and it starts from a clean slate. So it's anything is possible in a way.
Absolutely.
So it has me already excited for next season. But I am also looking forward to just this next race. I mean, the next race is coming up this upcoming weekend. They're heading to Indonesia. Not Thailand. I said Thailand by accident.
Did you?
I think so.
I think Thailand was the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure because
Thailand was the first race.
Because that Chandra had his home race was his first race of the season.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's Indonesia.
Yeah.
Where they're going to next. I mean, they're already on their way there potentially now.
Yeah. It's unfortunately not that far.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Not too far away. But they're coming back this weekend, which I'm very excited about. We have
Me too. And spoiler alert, I will not be watching a sprint race.
What?
Yeah, probably not. I am off Saturday, so whatever. We'll see.
All right, next up.